it was a Cleveland area code. So this is my win for the weekend. I guess it happened this morning. But you guys probably get your phones blown up by all these random numbers selling you insurance and wanting you to pay for leads and all this other stuff. I got a call this morning. It was the Cleveland area code, and it didn't say spam call on it. So I took the call, and thank God I did because it was one of my past clients' dads calling me to list his $400,000 house. So you know, it's so weird. It's like when do you not answer your phone and when do you answer it? And do you take the call anyway? You guys get those calls? How do you normally handle the calls that you don't know the number to? Because I mean, we got a bad reputation in our business of not answering the phone and calling people back. I don't want to be that guy, but I also don't want to talk to people trying to get me to sign up for
Well,
insurance on them.
I usually don't answer the ones that say potential spam or whatever. I also have noticed that like I get a lot of like Google business, people wanting to do that. And it seems like they're always coming from like Winchester. And so there's like certain towns that when I see that particular town pop up, I'm like, no. But that also happened for me once. Usually if it's an 859 number, so I know it's supposed to be from around here, I'll answer. 9 times out of 10, it's still, not really somebody that I want to talk to. But it did happen one day. I answered the phone and it was this lady that happened to be in the area and she wanted a realtor. And so we like met in my office in a half an hour. And so like it does happen. And so it is important to answer, but I totally understand most of the time it's doesn't feel good.
Yeah. And I think it's just one of those things. So I've got a thing on my phone and I need to start doing this again. I did it. I was really good about it for a while. And we're going to get into the vision conversation in a second. I'm just trying to let the room fill up. Um, but I went in my phone and I created a contact for sales call. So that every time somebody calls me from this number, it'll come up as a sales call because they've called me before. And then I went and blocked the number. So now, anytime somebody calls me from a sales number, I'll go in there and just I'll add their phone number to the sales call file. But I mean, these suckers, they buy big banks of numbers that have different area codes in them, and they'll just call you from every number from the area code. So I don't even know if it's worth it.
I can
But
give you a pro tip about how to save certain numbers on your phone if you this is terrible, but I don't know about you guys, but my favorite word in the English language is the word fuck because it is has so many different ways of using it. And Siri doesn't like you to say that word, so it always tries to autocorrect it to duck or something else. But if you save it in your phone as a contact, and I have it saved as fucking fuck fucker in my contacts, then when you go to type it, then it will never autocorrect you. Just a little pro tip of the day, y'all. I'm just full of them.
you are a national treasure, Amber Allred. You're great. I love that. All right, before we get into vision, going off of what Amber just said, she just reminded me of a cool little hack. This would be great if you guys do online leads or if you find yourself answering the same question over and over again. You guys ever mess around with the text replacement feature in your phone? You can go in there and you can put a little acronym in there. Like I've got one for another business that I own, the gym, and we're really hard to find. So we have people ask all the time, like, where are you guys located? And I just type in TTFL, that stands for the Tracks Fitness Lab, and it types out an entire dialogue of where our location is and how to find us. So if you text people for lead generation or just relationship building, you can have text replacement where if you're sending the same text over and over again, you just type in, like, if it's like Diana Caldwell's text script, she could put in there DCTS and it types the whole text message out, and you can replace whatever you want to in there, pretty it up or add their name in there or something like that, and saves you all that time texting the same thing over and over again to the same group of people. So, and it's not a mass text, it's just one to one. So, hope that helps. All right, guys, today we are talking about, let's boil it down to what it is. It's business planning, but we're talking about vision and making sure that you, um, as a business owner, this is a mindset thing, right? It's not necessarily business planning, but it's the business planning mindset. when like self-talk is huge. Has anybody ever heard the term like your brain doesn't know the difference between fiction and reality? Whatever you tell yourself is going to come true. I think Henry Ford said, if you think you can, you will. If you think you can't, you won't. Um, and there's a lot of doubt, especially in those first few years in the real estate business. Would you agree? A lot of doubt, uncertainty. What do you got there, Amy? What is that?
This is there's a book called What to Say When You Talk to Yourself
Okay.
by Shad Helmstetter. I read it a few years ago. And then this is a book called 365 Days of Positive Self-Talk. It gives you a little paragraph to read each day, kind of get you started off on the right foot. But yes,
Yeah.
I was raised in a very negative environment, never learned positive self-talk. It's life-changing.
Well, and so that brings up a good point. Like we're all programmed, no matter what you think. We're programmed from the time we're kids until now on how to think about success, how to think about money, how to think about different relationships and all sorts of stuff, right? We have no control over like our environment at a young age. But depending on where you go throughout life and who you surround yourself with, you can reprogram that stuff, right? Just reading that book probably had a lot of things in there that changed your mind about how you talk to yourself and all that. And that's kind of what we're going over today. So I had about, I don't know, 11 or 12 hours this weekend of windshield time, and instead of listening to some mindless stuff, I popped in a couple of podcasts, Gary Vaynerchuk, Brent Gove, and one of the things was on manifesting your future. And when I was, let's call it a younger man, every time people brought up the concept of affirmations, I just poo pooed that. You guys ever like hear anybody talk about affirmations and you're just like, that's kind of some airy fairy stuff, and talking to yourself about I am powerful and I am strong, I am consistent, and just the affirmations. Anybody identify with that? You hear that stuff. Some of you guys may actually still kind of poo poo it, and that's okay. We all, myself, we all mature at different times. But if you think about things like people who are great, we all want to be a great everything that we are. I want to be a great son. I want to be a great father. I want to be a great business person. I want to be an awesome husband. But then you think about people who are great. Your Kobe Bryant's, Michael Jordan's, Tiger Woods, race car drivers, business leaders, CEOs. Like they adopt this stuff and they visualize ahead, like before the time happens. They go through it. Like you think Kobe Bryant didn't think about championship games? Like just he knew every dribble he was going to make before he made it because he had already played that game 10 times in his head. So this can translate over to stuff like listing consultations, buyer meetings, whatever. Sitting down and calling your sphere or reaching out to people. It can apply to that, or it can apply to your business in general. So, TJ, I know you got a lot of stuff on this too, and I'm not going to put you on the spot right now, but if you want to pop in here with any visualization stuff, one of the things that I talked to my coach about, and he hit me with something way, way different than I'd ever heard of. Has anybody ever heard of a vision board? Explain to me somebody tell me what a vision board is.
Just physical representation of your things that you envision for yourself in the future.
Yeah. And what kind of stuff do people put on a vision board?
I think that depends where your mindset's at, but and what your goals are. So there's no, one answer, but things that they keep them motivated or things that they want to see in their future or where they see themselves in 5 years, whatever it may be.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I've seen a lot of vision board activities go on, and you bring magazines in and you cut out a picture of the house that you want, or the vacation, or the car, or the watch, or, the tangible things, right? And when I hired my coach, we were talking about, he asked me a question that came, it hit me so hard. This was right before I hired him. honestly. And this is the reason that I hired him. He asked me what my vision was for myself and what I wanted to get out of life. Guys, I couldn't answer the question. I was just selling houses day after day, just reaching out to people, selling houses because I wanted to be successful. The reason that that hit me so hard is because I had no idea where I wanted to take it. Right? I didn't know why I was doing it. What do I want to get out of life? So, we started talking about, okay, I want to put a vision board together so I can see the things that interest me. So he stopped me right in my tracks, and this is the part that got me on this on the vision board conversation. He said, "Well, he said a lot of people put the things in life that they want to have on their vision board, but a lot of people forget about the steps that they have to do to get there." So the vision board that he told me about was, yeah, put the stuff you want to have on there. That's great. Get yourself a new vehicle, or maybe you want a better house or a fenced in backyard or something like that. But then he said, take pictures of your vision board, or put pictures on your vision board of the person you want to become. That put somebody on there that really inspires you. Mine was my high school PE coach or PE teacher, and it's because of how he treated people. He didn't yell. He was very calm, but he was a leader, and um, so that hit me, and so that's why I wanted to talk to you guys. You guys are all business owners, and every single one of you has a group of followers that is there to they want to work with you. Maybe now's not the right time, but you're owning a business, so you've got to treat this like it's going somewhere. You're not just selling houses one after another or talking to people one after the other to make a paycheck. You guys are building something big. So, TJ, you got anything to interject, or you want me to keep talking?
No,
I hate
you
hearing
keep
myself
going. I
talk.
got something afterward. You're good.
All right. So, visualization, right? We talk about business planning all the time. And how does a business planning session usually go? Has anybody ever been to one of these things? You talk about your values, and then you talk about how much money you want to make, right? And a lot of times, if we're newer in the business, that number comes at 100. I want to make $100,000. That's the number that I always hear. Some people it's higher, and then they start working backwards into, well, if I want to make that kind of money, how many transactions do I need to do? And if that's how many transactions I want to do, then we back it down into, well, how many listings do I need to take, and buyers do I need to talk to and get them under contract? And then how many people do I need to network with and contact in order to make that happen? Well, what happens? I want to hear from you guys. What happens probably a, a week after that business planning session? What happens?
You get distracted from the goal
Okay, there we go. Why is that?
because life happens and
Life's
business
always happening.
happens.
Life's going to happen until it doesn't anymore, right?
Mhm.
So when you walk out of the business planning session, you kind of have this sense of, a little bit of clarity. Here's what I need to do. But what's that self-talk look like for so many people? You don't have to tell on yourself, but what's that self-talk look like for so many people when they walk out of that business planning session?
I'm never going to make it.
Exactly. Yeah. You set a goal, but there's an image out there that I love, and it's got two ladders side by side. The ladder on one side, the rungs on the ladder are really close together, right? They're achievable, going from one step to the next step. And then the ladder on the other side, the rungs on the ladder are just so far apart because you just set this big goal for yourself, and you know what it's going to take to get there, but you're not necessarily sure about how you need to go about it. Right? So that ladder is your calendar. You set a goal let's just say right now, I mean, we're in the middle of business planning season for 2026. Everybody's putting on business planning clinics, and I love it. I love agents getting together, talking about what's achievable. And when I put on a business plan, I think Mackenzie was at one of these things that I put on, and I like to do them a little different because what I do is I tell everybody, when you put your business plan together and you have clarity on what you have to do to get there, right? I'm sending my house anniversary postcards. I'm sending out birthday stuff. I'm putting on 3 client events next year. I'm going to join a BNI. I'm gonna start a moms group where we can help each other grow our businesses. All these ideas come out, and then they just sit there on that sheet of paper. But I tell people, take that business plan and all those ideas that you had, the social media posts that you want to do, all the videos that you want to create, the Canva posts, take all that stuff and break it down into a 4 week and a 1 week action steps. Each, each week has its action steps that push you forward. That's the rungs on your ladder, all 52 of them, right? And if you put those on your calendar and you say, okay, on Monday morning, I am going to, deal with the chaos of the weekend for the first hour. And then from 10 to 11 o'clock, I'm going to write out my social media posts for the rest of the week. I'm going to put on my calendar when I'm going to record them. And you're basically putting a vision together for your week. You're getting clarity on that entire week on what you're going to do. You can take that piece of paper that you just walked out of that business planning clinic with and light that thing on fire, because it doesn't matter. You just took your business plan and you put it into action steps for every single week of the year. And yeah, there's, like Shelly said, life's going to happen, right? Stuff's going to pop up. Kids get sick. Uh, Deal falls apart and you got to go into firefighter mode. All sorts of stuff's going to happen. However, if you put repeatable events on your calendar every single week, you can always move them around. You can always change them. If you realize, hey, something I'm doing is not working the way that I want it to, you can change it. Right. So, one of the things that I do, and this is, do what you want, but on Sunday, I look out at my calendar for the entire week and I identify things that are on my calendar that aren't taking me to the place that I'm trying to go. All those got a minute meetings, or the, hey, do you have time for coffee, or do you have time for lunch? Do you have time for this? I evaluate it. Do I have time for that this week? Or is this going to get in the way of my goals, or is it going to take me towards my goals? And I'll straight up cancel a meeting or move it around, or, I'll reschedule it to be right after another appointment that I have so I can batch them all together. So, TJ, I'm tired of talking. I want to hear your voice.
Hello. So a couple of things, because I've got opinions about these business planning sessions, and because I think in the moment they're good, right? I think that we're focused and people leave and they're hyped up, and I see the same thing. It's like a week later, it's gone very often. And I think there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, I think that we as human beings just pull a number out of a hat. I want to do 5 million. I want to do 10 million. I want to do 100,000. And it means nothing. It's just a number. Why? And we don't do the why. And if you do why enough and you just keep asking why and you get to that answer and it almost makes you cry, that will motivate you. Because I know for me, there was a time when I couldn't pay my bills. There was a time when my credit was 508 and I had negative $835 in the bank because Wood Forest would let me overdraft that much. Okay. And now to be able to take care of my family and not worrying about paying my bills, that motivates me. And like it gets me emotional because like it matters. And for me, like I never want to go back to that. And when I start to feel lazy and I start to end up watching Netflix at 11 o'clock, or, I think of my daughter and I think of my wife and I look at my credit card bill and I'm like, dude, you got to go. Because it doesn't take much. Like, it doesn't matter how much money you make. You just spend more. I'll go ahead and spoil this for you. Life just gets more expensive. But I'm okay with that because I'm just going to work through it. And that motivates me. Now, some people, if you've got super hyper discipline in your financial life, you could probably have a much easier professional life. But I'm sick, so that won't work for me. So that's one thing. Is like, define the why, because oftentimes you say 100,000 and I say, okay, well, what if you make 99? Would that change anything? Well, not really. What about 98? Well, I can probably get you down to about 70 before it matters. Like the number means nothing. And it's just something that's even and it feels good on the human brain. And that's why we pick it. And those are lazy goals, in my opinion. Second thing, and I think this was really cool because I didn't believe in this stuff at all. And some of it I'm still weird about, like affirmations, I'm still weird about just because it's uncomfortable, right? But it works. I mean, but it's weird. And that's okay. Some good things are weird. I'm one of them. So when I was in Bold, right? We did Bold at Keller Williams, and like there's some nonsense in Bold, but there's some really great stuff in Bold. I told Aaron, I was like, once they had me sing "Man in the Mirror" with the class, I was like, oh Christ. Um,
You
but
talk about uncomfortable, man. That is
it's so
a
bad,
weird experience. Yeah.
so bad. But there was something really cool. They had you write a letter to yourself, and it I think it was sent, they took it and it was sent 5 years later to you. And you know, you leave, you forget about it. But in that letter, you put what you want life to look like in 5 years. What kind of car do you want to drive? What do you want your house to look like? What do you want your family to look like? What do you want your business to, and you kind of really just go. And depending on where you are in your career and in your life, like some people went crazy, right? Like, dude, I want to be in Puerto Rico. And then some people like me were like, I want a team that does 6 million, right? It's all about like where you're at. But I wrote that, and I remember at the time thinking how big it was, and then getting that 5 years later and reading it and seeing like I've achieved this, which was cool, but how short how shortchanged I was to myself with like how weak the goals were, which was like a direct outward projection of where I was inside, just like the limited beliefs that I had for myself. And like I challenge everyone on this call, like sit down and think about like what do I want life to look like in 5 years, and then get with somebody who's crushing it and be honest with yourself. Like, is this the best I can do? And not financially, who cares? It's all nonsense. But like, is this the best I can do in terms of my potential? And if it's not, like that's probably something that you either need a coach or somebody to like push you, because life's better when we're have a full tank as opposed to like a middle or a tank on E. Like life's just better when I'm doing everything I can in my experience. So that's my soapbox.
Yeah, and guys, when people start talking about a lot of the business planning stuff and the vision, you know, they say start with the end in mind, and then they go to what's your why, right? Where's that usually go? When you distill it down, what do most people go to when they talk about the why?
They go to family, everybody.
They go their kids, they go their family, and I think that is great, but that's still not it. It's not it. Um, it, we love our families, right? It's very and our friends and all that stuff. Love it. But at the end of the day, it's not about the family tangibly. It's about the legacy that you're leaving and what you're teaching them.
Can I add something to that, Aaron?
Yeah, let's go.
So absolutely you got to know what your why is and why you're doing your business, but you also got to know what you're building, and why you're building it. And looking at just a few different areas, and this is we're doing our business planning on Wednesday, so all this is really we're putting all this together for Wednesday. And one thing we do every year is we, at the end of our business planning session, is we write a letter to ourselves as if it were December 31st of the next year and what we accomplished. But a couple of things to look at when you're thinking about what are you building is, just some different areas in your life, like your spiritual life. What is it that you're building in your business, and um, how's that going to play into your spiritual life and make you successful on the spiritual side of yourself? Or, your financial, obviously that's the reason we're in business. How much money do we want to earn? But what is that actually going to do for you? Because it's easy to say, I want to make $100,000 or I want to sell 30 homes, but what really is that selling 30 homes or making $100,000 going to do to you? So you kind of have to think of it a little bit more deeper than, yeah, I've never earned $100,000 before and I want to earn that this year. Or, whatever the reason is you're making that goal, you really have to dig deep and figure out why. What's it going to do for your personal life, for your family life, for your marriage, for your kids? Put some specific goals to those different areas of your life. And I think that makes it easier to really be motivated to do that. Because otherwise, like TJ said, it's just a number on a paper. If you dig down deep and you figure out exactly why you're doing it and what it's going to do for you, I think then you can get more strategic about how you're going to make it happen, because then it's going to get you excited about it,
Yep.
give you a reason to get up every day and go do the thing again,
I love everything you just said. And I love that letter. I love like visualizing it, writing a letter to yourself, showing confidence in yourself that you're going to get there and what it feels like. And it
And
really,
what,
it really helps it solidify that reason,
right. But you also have to revisit it throughout the year. Every month you should be looking back on your business plan and seeing, how far have I come? If it's February of this year, how far am I into my goals for the year? And what do I need to ramp up in order to make it at the end of the year? Or am I above my goals so far for the year? I think you have to know where you are to get where you need to go.
Yep. Shelly, you get your hand up. You want to unmute?
You're on mute, Shelley.
Sorry. That's rare that I'm
Take
muted.
it from
But
the top.
anyways, what's that?
Take it from the top.
Okay. I've been working on this too through a coaching relationship, and I can tell that we all are coached by the same type of group. I have a different coach though than you guys have, but it took me like 6 or 7 months to arrive here because I'm kind of like you, TJ. I'm like, this is all like woo woo, like vision and all that kind of stuff, affirmations, whatever. It just kind of like blah. But I've kind of like broke through that a little bit. And I think in a way it's a defense mechanism. It's sort of like, I'm not even going to try to have a vision. I'm not even going to try to set goals because what if I don't make it? I don't want to be disappointed in myself or whatever. So I what my coach and I started talking about was this idea of margin in your life. And obviously a lot of times in business, your first thought of margin is having enough profit, like are you making enough money outside of what you have to pay back into your business or whatever. But for me, it's not just that, it's margin with my time. Like I have this big need in my life to like work for the greater good. Like it's hard for me to even like think about like, oh, I want to put a number, like I want to make this much money. Like that doesn't motivate me, but it does motivate me to think that I'm in a business where I can have margin with my money and my time and resources to benefit other people, whether it's my family or even my clients. Like I want to have time and money extra that I can use however I want to for the greater good. And we talked about it in that idea of like you have to be, do, and then have. And so kind of what you were saying, Aaron, about you got to work on like who do you want to be? Like what type of person do you want to be? And then what do you have to do so that you are that sort of person? And if that happens, then you'll have what you want to have. And so I've been working on that a lot. I've created like a business plan, which I've never done before. And it's funny because sometimes when I will be sitting there, I'll be like, I don't know what to do. And then it'll go look at your plan. Like I'm so used to not working with a plan that I forget I have one. And then when I go to my plan, I realize like, oh, there's some things that I can do. And so like when I look at like what's my vision, like I can't even put it on a board. It's like so much more than that. I mean, my coach and I talked about how sometimes vision boards, and I'm going to get to, he's going to make me make one, but sometimes vision boards look like a Christmas list. It's like a Maserati and a mansion and a beach house and all those things. And like, that just doesn't motivate me as much, but it does motivate me to know that I'm in a business where like, once I have grandbabies, I might be a stay-at-home grandma a couple days a week. Or once one thing that we're doing this year that I just love is we're renting out a beach house for my whole family and all their, significant others. And we're going to let them come and stay with us, for a week in Panama City. And it's just things like that I just am like, gosh, I can't believe that we can do this for other people, that we can do this. And so that's kind of like where my vision is. And it definitely helps motivate me because I know that if I want to have the margin, I have to do the things that are necessary to have it. So I've got to be consistent with my prospecting. I've got to be consistent with lead gen. I've got to be consistent with serving my clients to the highest level. And like, then I backtrack on those things and say, well, how can I do that every day? And it definitely helps focus your work.
Absolutely.
You know, that was awesome, Shelley. I think that's really well put, because it's the tangible stuff will not motivate long term. It just won't. And that's what Diana said about like your spiritual side. Like, it's bigger than that. That is just, because trust me, I always tell people this, because I have a wonderful watch. Okay, it's expensive, it's great. And I remember when I got it, it was everything to me, right? Like, oh man, this is something I've always wanted. And a month later, it's my freaking watch. It loses all, it's just your watch, it's your car, it's your house. Like, stuff doesn't last. But life change, spiritual, time, that stuff lasts. And one thing to remember, so when you're new, or when you're not yet up and performing where you want to, you have no money, but you have all the time, right? And all you want is money. And then you get busy and you're a solo agent and you're doing 30 deals and you have all the money and all you want is time. But not until you get over that hump and you can start building, like Diana said, you start building where you can have money and time. But you've got to go through that rat race. And a lot of people, they get busy and they say, like, this is not the life I want. So they go back down. And you can have both. You just got to get through the pain. Nothing good in your life comes without pain. Nothing. You've got to get through pain, through hard stuff, and then things get easier. And if you're looking at your life and you're like, I haven't done anything hard, and sometimes life does it to you. It's not a choice, right? Sometimes you can go out, you run a marathon, like that stuff builds you to be able to deal with some pain, because pain is coming. It's just a matter of when, not if. And if you can just embrace the pain and get past it, that's when life gets pretty darn cool, in my experience.
You nailed that, because everybody that I've ever seen who's successful has a story on how they weren't, right? They came, some of us started on third base, but it's like the trust fund kid who is pissed at his parents because he doesn't know what to do with his life. But the kid who grew up, dirt poor, she pulled, like, she had to deal through the hard stuff to get to where she's at right now. So one of the things that I think about a lot, because my vision has grown since I hired my coach, almost is coming up on 2 years ago. My vision has grown to the point where I'm very freaking clear on what I want out of life. To the point when I told my coach, I said, he said, in 2 years, how will you know if you've hit your goal? And I said, people are coming to me, asking me how I did it, and thanking me for helping them along the way. And so I've got a picture in my head. I'm on stage and everybody in the audience is somebody that I've helped, and there's millions of people in the audience, right? Just people that I've showed some support for or encouraged them or something like that. And you know what? If selling houses is the way that I get there, great. If helping agents grow their business is the way that I get there, even better. But one of the things that I think about is who I was 10 years ago, putting that business plan together. Amy, you nailed it. We think when we put that together, I can't do it, or I don't have the skills to get there. I don't have the money to pay people to join my team to do some of the hard work for me. We have these limiting beliefs. This is where it's going to get into a little tough love here. We got these limiting beliefs that we're programmed with, and you didn't program yourself, so don't hold it against you, but they are internal, right? You do have these beliefs about, I don't know what it's going to take me to get there. I'm not that kind of person. I can't do it. I'm going to tell you guys right now that there are real estate agents in this world, and we all know them. They are dumber than you. They do not have the skills that you have. They're not as nice as you or as giving as you, but they are outperforming you head over heels, because they're just doing their own thing, and they're out there just getting after it. There's some of them that are really mean and nobody likes them, but they're still doing it. And you're telling yourself that you don't have what it takes. There's a little positive self-talk needed there. You can do it. The question is, are you surrounded by the people? Hey, go co-work in somebody else's office who you see as a positive producer. go surround yourself with people who will build you up, and go put yourself in situations where you're listening to podcasts, reading books, you're learning the mindset, you're learning the technique and the skills. Hell, you're on it right now. You're in the middle of something to build yourself up right now, so that when you put that business plan together and you look out at 2026 and say, "Hey, this is going to be my year, and here's exactly what I want to build." You're in the middle of it. Last thing I'll say, and I'm going to open it up for Q&A, talk, any feedback that you guys have, is a lot of us put together plans and action steps that don't fill our cup. You put together your business plan or your action steps, and you say you want to call for sell-by owners, you want to knock doors or do open houses or whatever that is, and when you're doing it, you absolutely hate it. Now, yes, you do have to do some hard things to build a business. My encouragement is going to be, find the thing that just gets you so excited, whatever that is. It could be networking, in-person events, putting on special things for people. It could be, hell, knocking on doors may be your thing. Who knows? But find the thing that really fills your cup. And when I talk to the people around me and they ask me that question, it's like, I love getting people together and starting conversations. I love that. So client events is probably something that I'm really good at. So what else? Thoughts?
I would say that real estate for me is the vehicle that has shown me a whole new way of living your life. And it sounds crazy, but I learned how to sell houses, but in the process, I met awesome people and coaches who have taken me to the next level and taught me the growth mindset. And that's what fires me up, is when I can, I did learn how to sell houses. I learned how to do marketing. I was an accountant, for God's sakes. Thank God I found the light. But when I started a team, and an agent on my team would say, "Thank you." They send me a picture of their new car. "Thank you. I couldn't have done this without you." That's what fills my cup. And I can still sell houses all the time, but I've gotten to the point where that's what that's what I want my legacy to be, for my family too, in a different way. But for agents, I can help them sell houses, but I also want to help change their lives. And that's what gets me fired up.
Diana, were you going to chime in?
Yeah, I was just going to say, piggybacking off what you said about who you surround yourself with, that is probably the most important thing in this business.
Yeah.
Because this business could be pretty lonely if you let it be. So many of us are working from home, and you really do have to put yourself in a situation where you're hanging out with people that are positive, that have a successful business, or at least are doing the right thing every day. And I mean, I couldn't have started my business without the people that I hung out with. And of course, the biggest one was Amy. I was just a baby agent when I started hanging out with Amy. So, it's important that you've got the right people around you. Not only just every day, but just as a resource, someone you can reach out to, or multiple people that you can reach out to and ask questions, or,
And by the way, Diana passed me up years ago.
And one more thing, if you can be honest with yourself, are you someone that people should be around? Are you bringing positivity? Are you picking people up? Are you being positive? Are you complaining about the market and how this job sucks, and buyers are liars, and this crap that we tell ourselves, that we go out there and we're beat before we even start playing the game?
Dude, that's some tough love. If you can deal with somebody who tells you, like, "Hey man, like, you used to be a lot more fun. Like, you're negative. It's hard to be around you." If you hear that and you get mad, like, your anger is going to be the first thing that you feel when you hear that, because it's negative towards yourself. But if you can just sit in that for a second and think, "Wow, I needed to hear that. Like, I had no idea that I was bringing all my trash around people. Like, hey, if there's negativity in your life, point it out. Maybe that's what they need to have a better life. Be the reason that they change. Shelly, what's up?
Um, am I muted? No.
No,
Okay.
you're good.
So, so I wanted to say also, this kind of like wraps it back around to what you said at the very beginning, Aaron, about like manifesting what you want in your life. So, one of my sort of overarching goals under my vision is that, hang on, I'm going to read it off of my paper here. To be perceived as an experienced and trustworthy real estate professional in my community. Okay, so that's like so basic. But I feel like, sort of like what we've said, you got to be the mayor of your town or whatever. Like, I just want to be recognized as a good one, you know? Um, and so, anyways, um, just recently, this past week, uh, young woman, messaged me on Facebook, and loosely connected with her in a different way, like, but I don't know her personally. And she said they've got some property they want to sell in Falmouth, and this is not going to be an easy listing. But she told me, she was like, I've talked to several people, and you've been so highly recommended by several people. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I mean, I've been referred before, but like, it just seemed like, wow, like I just put that as my number one goal. And then the next message I get is somebody saying, you've been referred to me by several people, and this is not going to be easy. Like, and I felt like, gosh, maybe they know that and they thought of me because they know I do hard things. Like, I don't know. But like, it just was like such good affirmation for me that like somebody thought I would do a good job with this very difficult listing. And so I don't know. I just want you to recognize that too. Like, if you write it down and you make it a part of what you want to do, then also look for the affirmation that you're doing the thing.
Shelly, read that again and take out the word perceived.
I know. We've already talked about that word.
TJ's nodding his head. He heard the same thing. Yeah, just be the person.
I am going to be that, not perceived, but I know, because that makes it look like not really, but sort of. No, I get it. We already discussed the word perceived. I just haven't taken it out yet.
Make it your
Do you,
affirmation. I am.
Yes, I
Yeah.
am.
do you
I
remember
am
in
that person.
Cabo, Ed Milet saying, are you going to be the one?
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
That's one of my affirmations I put in my journal every day.
Mhm.
I am the one.
Yeah.
And I'm not perfect.
You're
I'm
pretty
not where I
close,
want to
Amy.
be. Oh,
Don't
yeah, right.
don't
But
forget about Wilma.
I say I'm going to be, I am the one. I say that every day. That's the first thing I write in my journal, because I
That's awesome.
connect the one with things in my family, things in my business, things for my team. And that's what I strive to do every day. And then I have a whole set of steps of what I'm doing every day to get to that point. For me, having a journal and certain things I reflect on in that journal has been a key factor in staying on track with my business plan.
Haley, go ahead and I'll close it out after.
For me, you guys kind of are all already touched on this, but back to like the affirmations and like kind of like what TJ was saying, like don't be like one of those negative people who's like, oh, buyers are liars and all these things. And it all kind of ties hand in hand, but it made me think it's called like the Bader-Meinhof phenomenon. I probably butchered how that's pronounced, but it's like when you get like a black HRV, you start seeing those black HRVs everywhere. So like when you start saying buyers are liars, you're seeing buyers are liars everywhere. But if you're saying, oh, this market's not slow, there's motivated buyers, there's motivated sellers, you start seeing more and more of that, or whatever. You start seeing the potential, you affirm yourself, you start seeing more of, proof that you are whatever the one, or whatever you
I
say
think
you
that's
are.
called reticular activation.
Yep.
Yeah.
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 It works. It really does.
It does.
We see that which we are. Right. So I'm going to close this out. And this has been an awesome conversation. It went way better than I thought it would, by the way. So, because a lot of people poo-poo these ideas. But here's what I want you to think about. When we talk about the greats, right? Kobe Bryant's, Michael Jordan's, I throw LeBron James in there, but I'm not sure. Tiger Woods, Caitlin Clark, Haley Brown, throw all of them in there, right? Before they participate in something, they play it through in their mind. This little thing right here, this cell phone, is a distraction, right? Put that away for a second. Think about the next buyer consultation you're going on. Think about the next listing presentation you're going on. You set the meeting with the client tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. over in Tuscany, right? That happened this morning. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play out that appointment in my head. All right, so when I walk in, I'm going to greet the husband and the wife, and I'm going to introduce myself. I'm going to smile. I'm going to go through that entire listing appointment as if I'm there in person. I'm going to go through the questions that I'm going to ask. I'm going to find their motivation in my head. I'm going to go through all the scenarios of the motivations that they could have. Actually, I already found it out on the call this morning. I'm going to play that out, and then I'm going to ask for the business. Are you guys ready to get started? That's my close. If you ever want to know my close on a listing consultation is, are you ready to get started? So I'm going to play that appointment out in my head like it's Tiger Woods at the 2019 Masters about to hit his final shot on 18. I'm playing it out because I want to win. I'm not going in there blind. I'm not going in there unprepared. I'm going in there. Haley Brown set a PR in her High Rocks race yesterday morning. Went off at 8:10 a.m. Crushed it.
Ooh.
Congratulations, my friend. I was there for the whole thing.
Congratulations.
Loved it. Wouldn't doubt it. And I'm not going to put you on the spot. I'm just going to assume that you played that out in your head. You thought before the High Rocks race, you thought, okay, here's my pace. Here's how I'm going to play the burpee broad jumps. Here's how I'm going to do all this other stuff, right? You played it out in your head first because you knew that if you were prepared for it, you were going to win. Treat your week like that. Look at your calendar out for your whole week. All the things that you put into your business plan about your social media planning and the videos that you wanted to make, or the letters that you wanted to send to your clients, or the client events that you wanted to have, play that client event out in your head before it happens. Think about shaking the hands and hearing people say, thanks for everything that you do. Don't get into your head about, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, nobody likes me, because that will come true as well. You've got to tell yourself, I'm an agent, people trust me, and I'm here to change people's lives. And if you play these things out, like, you're manifesting this massive business that you can build. So that's my TED talk, here at the end of this call, is that, if you play the task through, whether it's the entire year business plan or just the week or just one appointment, play it through in your head in a positive way. And when you walk in there, it'll feel like you've done it 10 times already, and you'll be much more prepared and you'll have a better outcome. Any closing thoughts? All right. Stay tuned, guys. So we've got a community on Skool now, spelled Skool. Right now it's free. It'll be free through probably part of January. So I want all my friends who have been joining these calls to jump on there. All the recordings of the calls will be put in there. TJ and I are working on some things to get some good videos, some perspectives, and some trainings in there. We'll probably record some interviews with some of the people on this meeting right here, just talking about being an agent, getting better, growing. So I'll post a link for Skool. You guys can join it for free. That's where all the videos will be, and you're going to see a bunch of cool stuff on there. A lot of resources, documents that you can use for your clients. You can copy and paste stuff for your client prospecting emails and follow-up emails and all that stuff. So we're building that from the ground up, just getting started with it now. So just giving you guys a heads up, nothing you need to do at this point, but I'll get you guys all a link. Help me grow it. Me and TJ are building something pretty cool there. It's going to be awesome. So,
and give ideas, anything that you guys want on these calls. Like, we want to help people. So
yeah. And Shelly, I haven't forgot about you. I got short sales up here on the board. We'll talk about how to deal with, the troubled situations with clients and how to navigate that stuff too. So, we'll get that in there. You guys ready to crush it? You ready to go out there this week and just light it up? That's what it's all
Yes.
about. Yeah, that's
Let's
right.
do this thing.
I am good enough. I am smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me.
That's right. I already changed it. I already changed it on my goal. It says now, I am the most experienced and trustworthy real estate professional in my community.
That's what I'm talking about.
No shade on
Go,
anybody else,
girl.
because y'all are awesome too.
Hey, we're all the best agent out there. We are every
That's
one of
right.
us.
Yep,
A rising tide raises all ships.
That's right.
that's right.
All right, guys.
This was
Go out there.
great. Thank you, Aaron.
Love it. I love all the participation. Love you guys. See you next Monday. Take care.
Bye. Have a great week.